having to play two songs back to back before coming to you to talk about this one. I just happen to be an Afrobeat fan. I sincerely wish I could sing Afrobeat. Why are you looking at me like that?
You could try. Well, Nigerian Idol is on. You can go and try.
I'm not an idol. Well, maybe Gaise Baba is one. He is our guest this morning. Afrofusion, urban Afrofusion artist and a culture architect who gained prominence in 2012 with his hit single, Awa Otusho.
Culture architect.
Yeah, we'll find out about that.
All right.
So the song became an anthem in churches and among Christian youths. Awa Otusho.
Yeah. Ironic, yeah.
We are street.
Well, our two.
Oh, we are street. Oh, that's what it means.
We don't send you.
Like, we're confident in our own skin. We don't have to be like anybody else.
Okay.
You know, that's the, you know.
Okay.
It's not the literal meaning, but it's the exact meaning. That's what it captures.
Okay. Now, you're a culture architect.
Yes, I am.
Now, who's that? What's that?
Someone who shapes culture. Someone who shapes culture. So
How do you shape culture?
Well, with different things. So on one hand, there's the music. But then beyond the music, there are the platforms, because there's Lighthouse, with which we go around high schools, organizing concerts and leveraging the excitement to admonish students. We focus on high schools when they are between 10 and 16, 10 and 17 years old. So we advocate values like dedication, like, you know, delayed gratification, which is really a scarce value in our society right now, and abstinence. We also push abstinence to young people and say, don't let all the noise on media fool you. You can still choose to stand out and be different.
You will have to forgive me for asking. How old are you? Or are you shy to say it?
No, shy. No, your age is your age, man. There's no point, there's no point hiding that. I'm actually 35.
Okay.
Well,
all right. Oh, tush. Okay. All right.
But my question, one of my major questions to you would be, why Afrobeat music? I ask that because generally, I mean, maybe until about 5, 10 years ago, Afrobeat seemed to have kind of gone under, tapered down, sort of, but then a resurgence now. And yours is even a little deeper than most Afrofusion, more Afrobeat than most other Afrofusion things. So why Afrobeat for you?
Well, Afrofusion, because it's a fusion of the African sound and other sounds.
Yes, I know.
Afrobeat
the reason
is a genre.
But the reason I ask Afrobeat particularly is because of the pattern of the music, not in the deep, rich Afrobeat thing. For instance, yours is not very rich in horns and all of that. So that understanding is there. So, but why I ask why Afrobeat particularly?
Well, because I feel it's the most. Well, maybe not the most, but it's one of the most truly African genres, you know, and I'm big on Africa.
Everything about you is Afrocentric.
Yes, yes.
I could see from your dressing for your video, I could see a huge map on your chest. Was it a map?
It was a map. It was an African map like on my chest right there. So I'm big on Africa. I'm big on people of African descent. You know, it might not have...
had to be Afrobeat. It couldn't have been anything else.
He had to be. He had to be.
Would I be right, therefore, to say that you are an ardent follower of Fela?
An ardent admirer and respecter of Fela.
Okay.
What is it about him?
Well, there are different aspects of Fela as a person and as an artist, as a messenger. You know, different aspects of him. So some I take and I'm inspired by that. Some others, maybe not quite.
Okay, the ones that are positive that you find useful, which are these?
Fearlessness. You know, the courage to say what's on your mind and what you believe in is your message and that you have to pass across. You know, Fela was more of a messenger than just a musician. The music was a vehicle for him, in my understanding. You know, I never saw him live, but I've read up on him. I've read Benson Idonije's book on him. I've studied to a decent extent. I spent a couple of months with KG Hamilton, who played with Fela for about 12 to 14 years. Played different instruments, was in his band. So I wanted to get like first-hand feel. What was it like, you know, working with this man? You get what I mean? So yeah.
Before I talk about your album, you have this Lighthouse collective, an ensemble of Christian creatives.
Yes.
Speak to me about that. And how does that help shape culture?
Yes. So, you know, I'm big on faith, and my music reflects my faith, which is Christianity. And within Christian music, over the last maybe 10, 12 years, it's been predominantly congregational worship, you know, temple music, vertical music. You're singing to God, you're singing about God. So there's not a lot of culture shaping. There's not a lot of city-wide interfering. There's not a lot of engaging of the people, you know. So we, who we believe have been sent to do that, have kind of like set up like a community. It's not an organization. That's why I say collective of, you know, Christian creatives. So our sounds are different. We're not, you know, worship, praise. It's more alternative sounds. What the body isn't so used to right now. So we are the ones who go on the Lighthouse outreaches. We're the ones who organize Aramanda, which is an urban festival. We've done 2. We're having another one at Easter. So all these unconventional means to get the message that we have out there. So that's what the Lighthouse Collective is about.
And what's the message? You talked about vertical communication.
So the mainstream of Christian music right now is congregational, is temple, is music that aids worship. All right? Our music is more topical. We want to capture thoughts and ideas and ideals,
such as
that express, you know, faith, love. You even want to think about things as common to man, as say even sex, but from the standpoint of scriptures, because people go through these things. But then you want to see what's God's viewpoint on this.
Okay.
You know.
So would you consider yourself a gospel artist?
Based on what people understand as gospel artists, yes.
And
but
what
if we delve into the breaking down of these things, then we don't have time for that.
What would have made an economics graduate go into music?
I believe it's my life mission to be. Now, I thought it was to be a musician. Now I understand it's to be a cultural architect. And music is the vehicle, is the means, is the channel for achieving that.
Okay.
So music for me is a tool.
And that's
it's not
tool,
an end in itself.
Yeah. So that tool is also in your album?
Oh, yeah.
Decade after?
Yeah, a decade after captures my journey over 10, 12 years. You know, we started working on it beginning of 2020, myself and ID Kabasa. You know, so we started working on this album then. We finished.
How are you able to track him?
Favor.
Because ID Kabasa is not easy to get.
Nah, it's not. It's not, but, you know. And then I paid my dues also. Stayed with him for quite a bit. So when it was time to work on the album, he was even more passionate about it than I was.
So talk about this.
My message.
Talk about the album. What's in it?
It's 13
What's to
tracks.
be expected?
It's a 13-track album. It's an album that captures, you know, things that have to do with culture from the standpoint of faith. So there's a song on fidelity as a married person. There's a song on seeking help from God to be responsible and to meet your to deliver on your responsibilities as a husband and as a father, because I'm one. You know, there's a song on aspiration, knowing that I've been on this journey for a bit, but I know that surely I'll definitely arrive at that destination that God has in mind. You know, for me, there's a song about society. It's called Wambiliki Wabia, where what we did was to paint Nigeria as a family. Parents, children. We liken the parents to some of the leaders, not all, but some of the leaders, the children to the followers. I would say that the parents are well-fed. The children are malnourished.
Oh dear.
So there's an imbalance there.
I'm not going to ask you if this has anything to do with 2023, so don't answer because I didn't ask.
No, it can't even have anything to do with it because it was written even before 2019.
But if you are a cultural architect, don't forget that cultural architects are always futuristic. So what if you did without even knowing it? So I'm going to let you go now, Gaise Baba. I wish you the best.
Thank you for having me.
For being a part of our program this morning. Gaise Baba, original name Akande Ibuoye.
That's perfectly pronounced. Ibuoye.
What is Ibu?
Ibu is the depth.
The where something's coming out from.
Is the one from the depth.
Okay.
So, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Gaise Baba, and thank you for watching us from home this morning. That concludes Sunrise for this day. We'll bring you a fresh edition next Saturday. God bless you all. Alero Edu is my name.
I am Akinde is mine. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.